$44 million. That's what Elon Musk personally invested in a nonprofit whose charter contained one binding clause: develop AI for the benefit of humanity. That clause is now at the center of a $134 billion lawsuit because OpenAI, under Sam Altman, became exactly what it was designed to prevent. The paper trail starts with a single filing from December 2015. On December 8, 2015, OpenAI was officially incorporated as a 501c3 nonprofit in Delaware. Its charter spelled out a single purpose: to advance digital intelligence in a way that would benefit humanity as a whole. The document included strict language, no personal profit, no exclusive control, and a requirement that any technology developed would be shared as widely as possible unless safety required otherwise. Every founder signed a non-compete clause, agreeing not to spin off rival ventures or divert intellectual property for private gain. The founding announcement named 11 co-founders, among them Elon Musk, Sam Altman, Greg Brockman, and Ilya Sutskever. Together, they pledged $1 billion to fund the nonprofit's ambitious research agenda. But the pledge was never a lump sum. Instead, it was a series of commitments, with each donor responsible for their own share over several years. By the end of 2019, only about $130 million of the promised capital had actually arrived. The gap between the billion-dollar promise and the reality of the bank account became a source of tension inside the boardroom as the scale of AI research and its costs skyrocketed. Elon Musk's role was central from the start. He contributed $44 million, by far the largest single cash donation among the founders. These funds were delivered in 3 tranches: the first in June 2016, the second in March 2017, and the last in early 2018. Each payment was recorded in OpenAI's audited financial statements and earmarked for compute infrastructure and early research hires. Musk's donations came with strings attached. The money was to be used for safety-first AI research, and any shift away from nonprofit status would require approval from the founding donors. The donor agreements, later revealed in court filings, went further than public statements suggested. Founders were bound by a benefit of humanity clause, barring them from seeking personal profit or steering the organization toward commercial interests that conflicted with its mission. All intellectual property generated was to be owned by the nonprofit and released openly, unless a controlled release was justified for safety reasons. These legal guardrails were intended to prevent exactly the kind of mission drift that would become the focus of later lawsuits. Despite the billion-dollar headline, the shortfall in actual funding left OpenAI in a precarious position. As the cost of training state-of-the-art AI models ballooned, the original nonprofit structure began to strain under financial reality. The gap between the initial vision and the resources available would set the stage for the internal debates, external partnerships, and governance crises that followed. Elon Musk joined OpenAI's board of directors in January 2016, stepping into an active governance role that gave him direct influence over the organization's earliest decisions. Board minutes from that period show Musk pressing for strict adherence to the nonprofit charter, especially on matters of AI safety and the use of donor funds. He repeatedly raised concerns about any drift toward commercial partnerships or exclusive licensing, warning that such moves could undermine the group's mission to serve humanity rather than private interests. Throughout 2016 and 2017, Musk's voice carried weight in strategic debates over compute spending, research priorities, and the ethical boundaries of AI deployment. He pushed for transparency in board deliberations and insisted that all major decisions, especially those involving intellectual property or outside capital, be documented and justified according to the original charter. Internal emails later disclosed in court filings show Musk questioning proposals to explore profit-sharing models, arguing that any such shift would require explicit approval by founding donors. By early 2018, fault lines began to appear inside the boardroom. Tesla's rapid expansion into autonomous driving technology raised the specter of a conflict of interest, but the underlying tension ran deeper. Musk grew increasingly wary of discussions around a capped profit structure, which some directors saw as a necessary step to attract the resources needed for cutting-edge AI research. In a resignation letter dated February 2018, Musk cited both the potential for overlap with Tesla's AI efforts and fundamental disagreements over strategic direction. He specifically referenced unease with a proposed partnership with Microsoft and voiced concerns that the nonprofit's mission could be diluted by commercial incentives. Musk's exit did not go unnoticed. His resignation statement, filed with the California Secretary of State, warned that OpenAI risked losing its way if donor intent and safety commitments were not strictly enforced. The board minutes from that month record a heated discussion over the boundaries between nonprofit stewardship and the practical demands of scaling AI research. Musk's departure left a vacancy, but it also removed a powerful advocate for the original public benefit ethos. In the months that followed, the board began to explore new funding models and governance structures, steps that would later become central to Musk's legal arguments about betrayal and the erosion of OpenAI's founding deal. OpenAI's transformation accelerated in 2019 with the creation of OpenAI LP, a new legal entity designed to attract outside capital while maintaining a nonprofit parent. The limited partnership agreement introduced a capped profit model. Investors could receive up to 100 times their initial investment, with any excess distributed to the nonprofit for public benefit work. This structure was justified as a way to fund the enormous computational demands of frontier AI research without fully abandoning the original charter. Microsoft became the crucial partner in this new arrangement. In July 2019, Microsoft pledged $1 billion, securing exclusive rights to supply cloud computing through Azure for OpenAI's training and deployment. The deal also gave Microsoft a right of first refusal on future equity rounds and exclusive commercial licensing for OpenAI's models. Internal board minutes and partnership agreements, later disclosed in court, show that Microsoft's influence extended to product strategy, infrastructure, and the pace of research. The profit cap mechanism limited Microsoft's upside, but cemented its role as both funder and gatekeeper. By January 2023, Microsoft committed an additional $10 billion, raising its ownership stake in OpenAI LP to nearly half and increasing the profit cap for new investors to 200 times their input. The amended agreement granted Microsoft 2 board observer seats and a veto over any changes to the cap or profit pool mechanics. Azure remained the exclusive cloud provider, and Microsoft's right to commercialize OpenAI's models expanded across its suite of products, from Office to Copilot. These terms, outlined in SEC filings and internal memos, shifted OpenAI's governance from a donor-driven nonprofit to a commercially powered engine, with Microsoft as the dominant outside force. The original vision of open, widely shared AI was now intertwined with the business realities of exclusive partnerships and profit caps. On November 17, 2023, OpenAI's board of directors convened an emergency session. 8 members voted to remove Sam Altman as CEO, citing his lack of candor regarding major partnership negotiations and undisclosed equity grants to senior leaders. The decision sent shockwaves through the company. Within hours, nearly the entire staff, 743 out of 770 employees, signed a letter threatening to resign unless Altman was reinstated. Microsoft, holding a 49% stake in OpenAI LP, signaled it would welcome defectors. 5 days later, the board reversed course. Altman returned as CEO following a 9-2 vote, and several dissenting directors stepped down. The board's authority was left in question, as employee and investor pressure had overridden its original decision. Amid this governance crisis, Elon Musk intensified his legal campaign. In February 2024, he filed a breach of contract lawsuit in San Francisco, alleging that OpenAI's leadership had violated the original nonprofit covenant by secretly planning for profit structures and failing to obtain donor approval. Musk's complaint included internal emails from 2017 in which Altman privately discussed a for-profit spin-off while publicly assuring donors that the nonprofit charter would be honored. By July, the case moved to federal court, adding Microsoft and Reid Hoffman as defendants and escalating the claim to $134 billion in damages, funds Musk argued should be restored to the nonprofit mission. In January 2025, OpenAI filed to convert from a nonprofit to a public benefit corporation in Delaware. The new charter allowed unrestricted equity issuance and locked in Microsoft's economic rights, while stating a continued commitment to AI for humanity. Legal analysts noted that this conversion paved the way for insiders to unlock billions in equity, and for the first time, the original nonprofit guardrails were formally dismantled. The public benefit clause now stood alongside an investor-driven capital structure, raising unresolved questions about the integrity of OpenAI's founding mission. Today, OpenAI sits at the crossroads of public trust and private gain. As the legal battle unfolds and artificial intelligence shapes billions of lives, the world must decide who controls technology this powerful and for whose benefit. The answers will define the next era of innovation.